Okay, another quick update to my previous update from today. This is Narrator Studio Manuscript Prep. Currently you take a manuscript, upload it here, it ends up in your manuscripts, you select the active manuscript, currently selected Treasure Island, but I can change that to Pride and Prejudice if I want, and I can see where in the pipeline that manuscript is currently being looked at. So if I switch the pipeline, we can see that for Pride and Prejudice we have successfully ingested that book. It's classified, extracted, cleaned and chunked it, and that's then ready for analysis by the artificial intelligence, by the AI. So here in the second stage you can see that's currently running for Pride and Prejudice, and I've already run it for Treasure Island. There it's succeeded, and we can look at the detail for what it did with all the chunks. So let's look at chunk 16 here. It did 4 out of 4 passes. That's kind of cutting it a bit close. This means that it had to retry 3 times before it actually was able to work the chunks. So I may have to create smaller chunks for this particular book. And then you can see it took it 161 seconds to go through this particular chunk 16. If we want to look at chunk 16, we can open the ingest results and we can look at the chunk index, and on chunk 16 we can see that it was nearly 1200 words, and it was part of part 2 and chapter 9. So we've got all that data to see what the model is up to. Right here you can see that it did the last one. It says live progress, but that's not correct. This is the live progress for the other book. This is kind of still a bug. So the current book that it's working on, which is running here, you can see that we're in chunk 5 of 108, which because we start counting at chunk 0, is actually listed as chunk _ 004. So that's running, and you can see it's running because it's actually using the GPU almost to 100%. The GPU is by far the most efficient at running these AIs, and so the computer is working hard here, and I can feel the heat coming out of the machine. Treasure Island, I've then said it should be merged, so this job is queued. It doesn't currently run in parallel, even though the merge job could easily run on the CPU where I still have enough headroom. But that's currently being queued. The software doesn't allow me to run that in parallel at the moment, so I need to make it such that the software does that. So when Pride and Prejudice finishes with running, then the Treasure Island will start. It flipped back to queued here. I need to look at what's going on there. So we can look at the detail, and you can see that chunk 3 took 4 passes. All of these took 4 passes, and it's currently working on chunk 4, where it is working on the first pass. So again, it's spending quite a lot of passes going through and capturing all this data. So we can look at this data and just see what goes on here. So we can see that it did structured dialogue entities and dossiers. It found no chapters in chunk 0, no scene breaks. So it's incomplete. It did find a bunch of characters, so we know about that. And then it found some places, which is interesting. No notable objects or identity nodes yet. And then for the dossiers, it's created them, but it hasn't got any meaningful information about the characters of these people, so how they behave and things like that. And we might start to see some of that stuff in a later section. What we have learned now is that it's starting to pick up on the structure of the book, which is good. We can probably see it working on the 5th chunk still, and it's going through pass number 2. So this means that it's had a timeout. Anyway, we'll leave that running overnight, and we'll see how Pride and Prejudice is being analyzed by the AI. There's a lot of AI tuning still to be done, so I'm going to have to do that and create some tuning and learning in the system. So I just wondered if I should show you jobs. You can see that it's done the ingest. I'm doing now categorization analysis, and you see it says status queued. I don't know why it's done that. It's clearly running. You can see that the GPU is busy, and that selected job tells you how far it's got through. So 3.7%, so it's 5 of 108. That's all good. I won't stop it. And we can see that Treasure Island. I wonder if Treasure Island finds. Oh, here we go. You can see here. This is chunk 0, and it is starting to see that these characters, these places, and these identities, the old sea dog and the brown old seaman with the saber cut, may refer to the same entity. So it's figuring that out. The man who trundled the barrow and the man who came with the barrow may refer to the same entity, so the same person. So it's starting to identify that stuff. Later in the merge, we're going to refine that quite a lot. And you can see, let me see if there's any meaningful ones that have dossier information. Not really. So there's a bit of work to do on teaching the AI about what it means to put into a dossier. I want it to tell me that, you know, Tom Redruth is a grumpy old man, for example. But that's not happening yet at the moment. And then there will be a module that also does the highlighting of the text. So we're going to highlight the text and make sure that that it starts showing who says what, so you can identify as a narrator much more quickly on your reading what character you have to put on whilst you're reading. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. This is probably a long enough video, and we'll see you in the future. Take care.